Okay. Yep, just a slight setback, but teams will now be setting up inside of their own jungles. Oh, but we see La Mafia potentially trying to set up a
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yep. We're just trying to set up as a 5 to protect themselves against the invade, but OPX are not going to do any of that. Just a standard 5-point defense, and it looks like Banksy will be starting on the bottom side of the map, although now he's recalling.
Minions have spawned.
Not sure what his decision is in the end. Looks like he's actually moving to the other side, but okay, now Jaina Proudmoore had to use the glacial path to escape, but it's interrupted at the exact right time, and this is going to be first blood. Before the minions even converge in the mid lane, I'm not sure what Jaina Proudmoore was doing in that position, and now the teleport is going to have to be burned as well, just so Lissandra does not miss the first wave of minions, and that is big. That is very big for La Mafia. They can easily try to repeat gank this position, and then the Aurelia can come out very much ahead in this matchup, which is going to be so important going into the mid game. Cassandra also without the without the aftershock has the electrocute instead, so that extra bit of defenses will not be there to protect her in case of a gank. Yep, a very early first blood for La Mafia. I'm sure they're very happy about this state of affairs right here. Don Carvana doing the red, doing the Raptors is probably just going to be the standard 5 camp. Banksy going to have from top lane to bot lane as well. Both junglers could meet up in the bottom side of the map. It was a pretty common sight as well in the La Mafia vs Last Riders game. Both junglers decided to focus on bottom. Just as I expected, Alistair taken some of the harass already, had to burn that one potion. Has the additional healing from Triumphant Roar, but Comet from the Karma plus the constant auto attacks from Aphelios, so they are taking their toll right now. This is definitely a lane in which La Mafia can feel very comfortable. I don't know if OPX can do a lot about this. He does not really have the best ganks. Free 6. Every 14th in a lot of trouble right now. Attacks coming in from the Tom Kench, but just going to get away. Does not have to use the flash right here. On Kosu. Perhaps trying to look for some kind of aggressive trade, but is dissuaded by the presence of a jungler. Alistair really has to try and find the right time to go in, but even then, when he's this low, if he decides to engage, he might just pay the ultimate price for it. Okay. OPX trying to find some kind of roam timing, but La Mafia see the Alistair on the Tribush board, very nicely placed. Good stun from Don Kosu, but is not going to go for a short trade versus Lissandra. The OPX have recovered somewhat from that first blood, but that lack of TP could be crucial if we see anything happening bot side. I feel like that TP advantage could be quite important, especially for La Mafia here. Because they're the ones that want to keep aggression in the bottom lane. Galio's Karma definitely doing just that right now. Don Cunningham going for another trade. Full stacks on the acquired taste. The stun lands. This could be first blood right here. Has to burn flash, but Don Cunningham also has a flash of his own. This should be first blood, but so far it isn't. And Don Cunningham is getting kited around these minions. He's going to wait for his jungler, and this should just be a kill, but oh no! There's enough damage. Lilia secures that. And now Gragas is going to exact revenge, but that did not go as planned for La Mafia. I'm pretty sure this should have just been a solo kill, but 314 and just to kite around the minions, and OPX get at least something out of that. They see the jungler come in. This is some valuable information. Oh, and the level 6 advantage here from La Mafia. Don Kosu decides to immediately go in with that Vanguard's Edge, but Glacial Path from Jaina Proudmoore denies that completely. But the CS lead is still there. Also, having those 2 kills on the Gragas does feel pretty nice. Having the Sword Shoes early makes you more mobile, makes you do more damage in general with your combo. With that Electrocute as well, that really adds up. Obviously, having a Gragas that's behind does not feel good at all, so. The 2 kills on the La Mafia's jungler, perhaps, you know, ideally, you could really choose who to have the kills on, and would be Aphelios, but obviously the action was not happening around the bottom side of the map. So, I think Gragas taking it for now is a pretty good compromise. So far, no action around the dragons either. No neutral objectives being attacked. Banksy has not really shown his face yet, apart from mid that one time, I believe. Mostly just tending to his own camps right now. That might just delay his transformation as well, which is not the best thing in the world. The root comes in from the Mafia. Already taking some damage, but is going to get away with it. Every 14. Now, teaming up with Banksy to try and kill the Tom Kench, but he has a lot of damage. And now the TP advantage from La Mafia could be the factor, but it gets interrupted. It's now a straight 2v2. OPX mid laner, though, he has a priority inside of mid. That doesn't matter. La Mafia still take the kill. And it's a good response. Don Caruana was once again on the scene at the right place at the right time, and now he's chasing off the Kayn. Could be even looking for this dive right here. Very nice explosive cast. Glacial Path already used. Jaina Proudmoore does not have the ultimate. Don Kosu has to flash away to avoid the damage, but he goes in. And the cannon minion was still attacking him while all that was happening. So unfortunately, it is an execute. It was very close to succeeding. One silver lining for La Mafia is, obviously, the kill does not go to anyone on the opposing team. And now that allows OPX to take the first dragon of the game and the series. Banksy perhaps not the most active around lanes, but he gets the job done when it comes to the neutral objectives.
No one saw that. No one saw that.
Does look like we're going to have a moment of calm inside of this game. Both teams are just going to regroup, reform. Perhaps we're going to see something around mid again. Just because Lissandra does not have flash, could be a juicy target for Virelia and the Gragas. There's a lot of front-loaded damage between the two. Tom Kench doing very well for himself inside of this matchup. Pretty sure OPX, I think, They expected this to go a little bit more in Lilia's favor, but right now, Don Cunningham, it's his kingdom, it's his river. Definitely feeling good right now. This game 1 of the series. Bot lane stabilized a little bit. Obviously, Alistar taking a lot of hurt versus double ranged, but we're not that far behind in terms of CS. Now Don Cunningham with a 2-level lead, he's going to try to go for another trade, but the lane is not quite long enough. Now Misfortune taken down to almost 30% health. Getting a little bit dangerous. Fortunately for OPX's bot lane, the Gragas is on the other side of the map, still busy with clearing the Rift Herald. That might take some time. Actually trying to come in for something. Boss Aurelia goes in, avoids the stun as well. Very nicely done. Very nicely chained from OPX, and it's a response kill. Exactly the right timing they were looking for. And now also, something's happening in the bottom lane. Don Simeone taking the shots from the turret, and is the first 2v2 kill for OPX. The heal comes in. Don Gomez trying to get a kill in reply, but it's not going to hit the intended target. And it's a double in the 2v2 exchange for OPX. Finally, we see OPX fight back, and they fight back really well. This matchup was favored for Vitelio's Karma, but now OPX have found their opening. And maybe things will start to turn around from here. Don Cunningham, though, still trying to go for another solo kill. And the sleep does not matter at all, because Lilia was still in Tahm Kench's big belly. And if that wasn't enough, the jungler was even there if February 14th somehow had the ability to escape from that one. Yeah, this top lane is definitely not going OPX's way. It could be a bit of an issue. I wonder if OPX will have the right amount of damage to deal with this threat from La Mafia here. So Don Caruana right here trying to go for some kind of extended invade, but gets punished for it quite severely. Has to burn flash. Don Simeone also in trouble. Running the cleanse versus the Alistar Misfortune combo. Not really that effective in lane, but probably mostly concerned about the Lilia and the Lissandra later on. It's not really a summoner for laning phase especially, but it does mean that in 2v2 exchanges like that, OPX could look for some kills. This is exactly what happened earlier on. Recall gets interrupted. Next dragon will be coming up very, very soon. Just 5 seconds until it spawns. Now Don Caruana shows up just in time to punish the bot lane of OPX. The TP from the Lissandra in reply, but it's going to be too late. I think this Alistar is done for. No, he isn't actually. Very nicely done. Gets away. The bullet time does a lot of damage, but D-Hero still falls. But oh my goodness, the engage from the Kayn. So much damage from Bagsy. And this, so far, is a wipe for OPX. Only one kill on the other side. Only the Misfortune falling. Now the Tahm Kench could get one kill, maybe. Maybe the Alistar does not get away here. No, he won't. He falls as well, but it doesn't change the fact that OPX have secured a big victory around this Dragon Pit, and they're going to take the Dragon as well. Banksy does not have his form yet, but it doesn't matter. With the items that he has, he was able to do a lot of hurt. Very nicely synchronized with the Lissandra engage, and OPX hit it big on the dragon. dragon fight. Now they have the gold lead. They have the 2 dragons. And the next dragon could be a big pressure point. Don Simeone actually not going for a Kraken Slayer. Just going for a purely defensive purchase against this team composition of OPX. It potentially could be the right play, because when it comes to OPX, their initial engage, there can be a lot of burst in there, but once all of that is used up, then the shield bow can be quite effective. Both bot lanes now transferred towards mid. Oh, but what an engage from Jaina Proudmoore on the flank, and Don Simeone is done for. Did not have the cleanse to protect himself. Here comes Vigragas to try and get something back, but OPX have the numbers advantage. La Mafia would be quite unwise to try and go for it, but okay, here comes the explosive cast, but does not knock Misfortune back into their team. Just knocks them away back to the safety of their turret. When it comes to these engages so far, OPX have clearly had the upper hand. It does feel like when it comes to starting these fights off, they do have more tools to do so. But La Mafia really have to be careful when it comes to approaching these objectives. Make sure that your backline is not immediately under threat. This is exactly what we've been talking about. Right now, Don Simeone has been the target. Not really able to deal damage in these fights. Second Herald's being started up by OPX potentially, but the Mafia have 4 players around Baron Pit. They will not let Rift Herald go into the enemy hands, but perhaps OPX have something to say about that. Here comes the TP from La Mafia on the right side of the play. Don Cunningham onto Jaina Proudmoore. Jaina Proudmoore is not really a factor inside of this fight. The fight is pretty much split to left and right, and it clearly favors La Mafia so far, but the big sleep from February 14th targets 4 people. That could be the turnaround factor right here. Don Costa going in, but not enough damage. And February 14th, at a crucial point in this fight, goes in with the flash, with the ultimate. And OPX, it looked like a losing fight, but they still come out ahead. They still take the Rift Herald. This fight was a lot closer than the last one, but OPX still come out the victors. Don Simeone got 1 kill out of that fight. Gonna be quite useful when it comes to building up towards that. Looks like a collector. Yeah. Pickaxe already in the inventory. Probably going to be followed up by a Dirk and a Crit Cloak. And Don Kosu as well. Clearly, mostly just completely neutralized in these fights. When it comes to the engage, the Mafia have a hard time sticking to the backline. OPX with the Lissandra, with the Lilia, being able to WWE's frontliners off. OPX now starting with Dragon. And will not be answered by La Mafia.
Blue team has slain
We
the
do
dragon.
not feel the urge to go for that dragon fight right here, but Don Caruana standing in the completely wrong position. He's going to pay the price. Don Kosu also having to get away from there. The additional TP comes in, but did not amount to much. OPX get a dragon and also get some, get an additional kill on top of that. Does feel like OPX, the team with superior engage options. They're definitely making use of the tools that they have so far. Also, eHero71 doing a good job on his misfortune. Positioning correctly, having the impactful ultimates. Also, focusing on trying to shred these tanks with the Lord Dominic's regard. Well, tanks. I say tanks. It's not only just one tank, to be fair, but there are several tanky members on the other side. The LDR could still help. Don Caruana goes in despite not having the support of his team, and he's going to fall immediately. Does not have the Zonius to protect himself. Now the counter engage from OPX is swift. Don Cunningham has to use the Devour to save his support, but it doesn't matter. Fanxi goes in regardless. Engage from OPX is smooth like butter, but oh my goodness. That was quite scary. The Moonlight Vigil damage from the Aphelios. With the blue gun equipped. That almost just blew up 2 or 3 members of OPX. Quite scary indeed. La Mafia are only going to get 1 tower while OPX is on the Baron. This is where the game could just really swing super hard in OPX's favor. Let's see how they take advantage of his Baron buff. Top lane outer turret is still standing. This could be the first target, although it's not really that healthy, so maybe it just takes 1 person or 2 champions to get that destroyed. The mid tier 2 turret for La Mafia is also quite heavily damaged. So I suspect OPX, they will just stay mid. Dana Proudmoore still on the back line. Oh, what? So much damage coming in from the Misfortune. That was really, really scary. And Don Simeone forced to back extremely early, and this is just a free turret for OPX. Could even be 2 turrets. Because Tom Kench is, right now is not protecting top lane at all. Could be looking for some kind of play. Does not have a TP though. Not moving towards mid. Here comes the explosive cast. Does not knock back anyone. That was unfortunate positioning, I think. I think both champions on the side of La Mafia were just stopped by the walls on the left side, but La Mafia decided to engage anyway with other tools that they have. Misfortune finally falls for OPX. Maybe this is the turning point, but here comes Jaina Proudmoore with the TP. That's 3 kills for OPX already. The fight continues on the other side, but it's OPX as well coming out with victors. The sustained damage, the Leandri's Torment. Tom Kench cannot kill more people. He dove into the backline, but he only got Misfortune. 4 people still alive for OPX. They have the Baron buff. They have the minions. I believe this could just be game. Bot lane coming in 5 seconds for La Mafia, but I think OPX will just brute force their way through this one. Okay, no they won't. Perhaps if the Alistar was 100% healthy, they could have tried for it. But he did not have the ultimate, they did not feel brave enough to try. Getting the inhibitor, getting one Nexus turret, and also potentially getting Dragon Soul could be the appropriate reward. The Mafia are not in a position to respond to this. They would have the advantage in terms of ultimates, but they could not possibly get there fast enough. So, Cloud Soul goes to OPX. They used the Baron buff quite efficiently. They still have the 9,000 gold lead. This is definitely their game to lose in the end. Well, Mafia is definitely struggling trying to play this one from behind. And I really, really question the collector choice from... I know everyone's harping about collector being built on 80 carries. And I don't think it's necessarily bad in every scenario, but when it comes to Don Simeone's build, I really feel like Lord Dominic's Regards is strictly superior. But I think maybe that's going to be changed in another game. We'll see. OPX grouped as 5, trying to push this bottom lane here. I do believe top lane is also pushing slightly in their favor. And mid lane obviously is pushing in their favor because of super minions. The explosive cask once again trying to target D-Hero 71, but it doesn't really knock him back into La Mafia's team. That's one big engage option down for La Mafia. OPX definitely feel a lot more confident now, trying to approach these turrets. They don't have the best siege though, so I think the best course of action for them here is to try and find the right engage. Don't know if they're tracking summoners, but right now Don Simeone's flash is still down. Has the cleanse up though. That's a lot of damage from just the Swirl Seed on Valilia. Had a rough early game, but definitely bounced back just fine. This is swift rotation from OPX from bot to top. Lissandra still positioned in the side lane on the other side of the map. The Mafia still focused on defending here, but
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
it really feels like they can't really stop OPX from taking down these towers, taking down these inhibitors. It all feels inevitable when your only real source of engage is Begragas. I feel like Explosive Cask is the most effective tool that they have, and when it gets used like this... Okay, the Moonlight Vigil, though, is pretty well placed. Now OPX counter-engage. How effective is it really? Misfortune gets targeted, but it's almost immediately Irelia gets blown up by the entire team of OPX. They really peeled super well, and now Jaina Proudmoore with the triple root combined with the flash onto La Mafia, and the team fighting from OPX is just sublime. They take game 1 in less than 30 minutes. Very good showing from OPX. Don't let the Kane go out of control, because it could be quite dangerous. Just give me a second to update the score here.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Okay, and we're off to the races. OPX going for an invade towards the top side, and La Mafia going to invade OPX's red buff. So both teams going for the respective red buffs, and both teams are going to pass each other. Potentially suspecting where the other team might be. Pretty sure OPX, they could have a general idea of where Mafia decided to go with this invade. Okay, but no harm, no foul. Both red buffs are officially warded. So with this information, both teams will know where the jungler has started. Whether it is blue or red. Don Caruana decides to go for a blue buff this time instead of a red. He's going to be pathing towards that top side. Maxi is going to do the same thing, so it's once again junglers pathing towards the same side of the map. I feel like this time OPX has definitely recognized that this is not really a matchup in which they can get the upper hand very easily, so we're just going to give the leash to their jungler and hope for the best in this particular game. First root lands onto the Hero 71, but a nice retaliation trade there. OPX actually get the push for level 1, but they do not decide to go in. They still are aware of what the dangers are potentially. Don Cunningham, I feel like he's definitely well versed in both sides of the matchup here. Whether it is Tahm Kench or the Urgot, I think he definitely knows how to play both of these champions to a great extent. We've seen him do very well against T-Zums in the lane in the first round of the winner's bracket. So Don Caruana on the Wukong actually skipping Raptors for now, or he's just kind of doing both camps at the same time. Yes, he is. So it is a 5 camp. He's going to be moving back towards the bottom side Scuttle Crab. So both teams are going to get one for themselves. Fortunately for February 14th, he's not really in danger of any dive coming in. Has his mid laner, he has his jungler nearby. Ooh, big engage potentially coming in from La Mafia. Mari has to flash very early to avoid all of that damage. And this flash was very, very valuable. Very good news for La Mafia that they managed to burn this one down. Now the Wukong on the bottom side of the map. There could be danger for OPX. Mari is way out of position here. He's going to die, most definitely. No flash to get away from this one. First blood to Don Caruana. La Mafia attack exactly where I expected them to. But now OPX with a response. Don Kosu trying to flash away. He's going to get away. No, he won't. Banksy with a flash. The miasma was well placed, but Banksy still had the right amount of distance to close that one out. And it's a 1-for-1 trade. Both junglers finding kills before the 5th minute of this game. But I still feel like with this kill, it's going to be the Kayn that's going to scale better into the later stages of this game. February 14th, really going hard onto the Urgot. Still has a flash. Yes, he has to flash that tongue lash. Otherwise, would have been toast. In this case, he stays alive. Though he doesn't have mana, he has to back. And probably has to teleport back to his lane. So we see how Tahm Kench can also win these 1v1 trades. It is quite tough for Urgot to fight back. Yeah, Don Cunningham going for the early Null Magic Mantle just to try and mitigate some of that damage that's coming in. or any Titanic Hydra components. Don Kosu now, without the flash, getting attacked once again. But TP in response from Don Cunningham. It's going to be killed for Fanxi, the second one in this game. But now Don Caruana, this time he is answering very nicely. It's a double kill for the Wukong. He continues to go in. Even Don Simeone gets the assist. Way from downtown in the bot lane. And OPX did punish the summoner from La Mafia, but they got punished themselves. La Mafia were very quick to answer here, and they're going to take this dragon down as well. Both junglers pulling ahead. Don Caruana is going to opt towards that Divine Sunderer. Focusing on the tankiness. Focusing on hitting Tahm Kench and the Kayn. Once again, big aggressive trades from La Mafia. The Hero 71 has to burn both summoners in this 2v2 exchange. La Mafia really putting down the hurt here. Both summoners down for OPX. This is big trouble. Nami going to fall first. Ashe has to retreat to the safety of the tier 2 turret, because if she stays, it's going to be a free dive for La Mafia. Now Don Caruana, excuse me, just venturing safely into the enemy jungle, getting vision, getting the camps. This is exactly what La Mafia wanted out of the series. They wanted the bot lane to be consistently ahead of their counterpart. Didn't work the first game, but it's working very, very well in game 2. It's up to OPX to find an answer to this. Now we see Urgot potentially being the victim of a dive right here. The stun lands into additional CC. Fanxi gets another kill. Now, the arms race I was talking about in the first game could be happening right here. OPX decided, you know what, bot lane is just not worth trying to fight against this bot lane. It could be very ugly if Don Caruana finds the right counter gank timing. So instead, we're just going to attack the top lane, get our Kayn ahead, make sure that he's fed going into these fights later on, and maybe we can fight back. They'll have the pick tools. It's both teams with different objectives in mind for this game. Brute lands once again, but La Mafia this time are not going to go in for this play. Don Caruana still chasing. He has the ultimate. Going to go in, but a nice Scatter the Weak denies that completely. And Syndra could be a crucial pick here in these fights if the Scatter the Weak lands at the right time when La Mafia is diving in the backline. Jaina Proudmoore holds that ability in the fights and then pops it at the exact right moment. That could turn the tides quite quickly. Might not have the best sustained damage, but the initial CC could be quite dangerous. Again, when it comes to sustained damage, it's not really the Syndra that's going to play a primary role here. I feel like the Kayn is already... He already has a pretty early Gore Drinker. Going to go towards that Sterex gauge, I imagine, as well, for that additional tankiness in the fights, just trying to survive for as long as possible. Yeah, Don Kosu can't really match Syndra's distance when it comes to his abilities. Counter the Weak being quite effective. Tahm Kench in the top lane, going for another trade. Not land the Devour was not quite close enough. Did not want to expend his flash. Now this could be dive opportunity, but the dive lands from La Mafia. Sorry, for OPX. The cleanse used from Don Kosu. The deny of a stun, but it wasn't enough. Oh, oops. The fear beyond depth from Don Cunningham was actually quite close to hitting the mark there. But La Mafia did not get anything from that counter engage. Don Kosu in this matchup, he's not feeling so hot. Now the Kane versus the Wukong. Definitely know who's going to be the victor here. Kane has a mythic completed. Now 2v2. Bot lane, also a fight going on, but the Mafia have a clear advantage. They're pushed quite far into the lane, which gives La Mafia all the time in the world to deal damage, to land with CC. And that's not the best timing for OPX to die 2v2. That's going to be another dragon going the way of La Mafia. Going to have a 2-dragon lead. OPX cannot possibly look for a steal or anything of that sort.
Red team has slain the dragon.
Not without hiccups, but La Mafia secured their first 2 dragons of the game, and they still have a small gold lead. And looking at this game, I think it's pretty clear at this point who's going to play the most important role for OPX in the fights. Actually going for Black Cleaver, I believe, instead of Derek's Gage. So he's going to boost his armor pen against the tankier targets on the enemy team. Wukong does have some of that armor coming in from the passive, plus we played the steel caps. I imagine the Cassiopeia and the Swain, one of them at least, will have Zhonya's. Urgot will probably build armor at some point, but perhaps later. Or maybe it is the Spirit Visage second. Jingle Gem could build into the Spirit Visage. Don Caruana is there to assist with his top laner.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
The dive is not going to take place, but OPX, nonetheless, they will secure this first turret with the Herald. That gives both Tahm Kench and Kane some of that additional gold. Now a period of downtime in this game. OPX, obviously, their bot lane is still not in the best of spots, but regardless, they should feel pretty good about their position here. Uh-oh. Hero 71 could fall victim to a potential ambush from the Mafia. As I say that, February 14th also getting targeted. The disdain from Urgot does not land. Does not get flipped towards the opposite side. Don Cunningham now very low on health, actually. Tahm Kench is going to keep chasing. Well, Mafia decides, you know what? We're going to go for it again. The Abyssal Voyage gets interrupted. February 14th tries to get at least 1 kill in this trade, but yeah, it wasn't enough. The Devour lands, but there was not enough health to play with. Mafia finally find their target. The cleanse does nothing against the damage. You can cleanse the stun, but you cannot cleanse the damage. Jaina Proudmoore, a solo kill in the mid lane. And he's definitely the highlight of this series so far. Stabilized the matchup versus the Aurelia in the first game, had immaculate team fights several times. And now he's also doing very well in the matchup versus the Cassiopeia. Another Another batch of good news here for OPX. Oh, that was bad timing. As I say that. Their bot lane is getting attacked. The TP comes in from Don Cunningham. That's kill number 1. And kill number 2 as well. The La Mafia are not letting up here. They will continue to push their lead in the bottom lane, but now it's OPX with a TP of their own. And Don Caruana is nowhere to be found. Don Simeone is just going to give away the shutdown for the Kane. Don Gomez also in trouble, does not have the flash, but W is completely interrupted. But the Fanxi gets shut down by the Urgot on the other side as well. Now La Mafia feel brave enough to counter-engage here. The Whistleblowers does not get stopped. Don Costa is going to die again from the Unleashed power. Big fight towards the turret. Don Caruana exhausted, does not have the damage. The exhaust timed so well, and Jaina Proudmoore with another kill in this fight. 5 kills up already on the mid lane counterpart. This fight was so back and forth. Both teams came away with some advantages. Don Cunningham can definitely feel good about the 3 kills he just took away from that fight, but on the other side, Jaina Proudmoore has so much gold. The Kane also, I do believe, had several kills in that fight. And because OPX were ultimately the victors when it came to tempo on the map, the presence, they get Infernal Drake, they deny the soul point from La Mafia. Now the team fights could look a lot different. If the Kane can stay alive, he can land the CC on the front line of La Mafia and just heal up with all of the healing that he possesses in the Darken form. Plus the healing coming in from the Nami as well. Let's not forget. It's not just innate healing, but it's also the healing from Cantor. Could prove to be very hard to deal with. Now La Mafia planted the Cassiopeia in the side lane for a little while. The turrets are still standing for OPX. All outer turrets are still standing. La Mafia doesn't really feel like they're sure as to what lane specifically they want to attack. Judging by the history, it should be bot lane, and the 2v2 engage comes in. The TP from Jaina Proudmoore on the backside. It's going to be too late though. The Unleashed power does not come in until much later when the exhaust runs out, but it doesn't matter. La Mafia has the numbers advantage, and they're going to take all these kills. The team was split up. Tom Kench was on the other side of the map with no TP. It was just Jaina Proudmoore trying to assist, but the Mafia were fully ready for this scenario, and they take even more kills here. It definitely was a good call out. Attack the bot lane. Those are easy kills that you can take. They got even more out of that play. They didn't get just the outer turret, but the inner turret as well. And the gold lead swings quite heavily in their favor. Also, the good thing about Wukong jungle is that I guess this comp can apply the healing reduction quite effectively just on his own with the Cyclone. So at this point, you don't really need to build any healing reduction items past, past this point. You don't need any more. You can just focus on other items that you might need to Your wins in these team fights. It looks like Don Kosu is just going to go for Riley's Crystal Scepter, I believe. It's just going to be utility, not as much damage. Deandre's Torment does provide some of that bonus damage, but obviously it's not a completely damage-focused build in this case. Still, here, La Mafia is looking... They're looking nice this time around. Team fight's much better. They have the tools to fight their opponents. Their lanes are in a much better state. Maybe apart from mid. But Game 2 is definitely the investment that we were looking for. OPX looking for a short while to get some kind of mid lane turret push, but against this team it is quite risky. Don't want to walk up too far outside of your turret. Punishment could be quite severe. Mafia get initial river positioning, but now they go back to mid to try and clear that, clear those minions away. OPX not quite in position, but it does look like they are very much ready to fight for this dragon. They will do so. They will actually start the dragon themselves. I don't know if this is the right call out. Don't really want to be grouped up against this team. OPX have to be very careful. Jaina Proudmoore trying to look for some kind of play on the side. Just to try and split the enemy team up, but it's not going to work. OPX really wants to look for some kind of singular pick, but now get a pause. And it looks like we're going to wait a short while before this team fight kicks off. Because, yeah, I fully expect both teams to really fight for this one. 100%. The stun actually misses from Jaina Proudmoore. That is big. That could be the signal for La Mafia to pull the trigger. Here comes the AoE CC. It's absolutely massive. And the team fights are much better for La Mafia because their team composition is just full-on team fight mode. They get 4 kills in this fight. 4 for 0 and the dragon. Just like I said, if OPX cannot land that initial pick, they are much worse for wear in these team fights. This is exactly what happened. But now Jaina Proudmoore, he's so fed. He's still able to land these picks. Still has so much damage against these low magic resist targets. Gonna keep chasing though. The disdain from Urgot does not land. The stun in response. But now the slow. There's more than enough damage from Don Cunningham, and that was one step too far from OPX's mid laner. And the Baron is just going to get started up by La Mafia, but okay, the instant TP from February 14th. They're trying to. We really don't want this to fall into La Mafia's hands. And the Ash Arrow as well. He's not going to kill the jungler, but he's going to delay his recall. Now OPX definitely will not start the Baron, but yeah, at least they prevented La Mafia from taking it. That would be potentially game-ending, considering the current state of the game. Yeah, right now it's just the initial engagement they have to rely on. OPX don't really have the sustained damage, I feel like, to win out in these fights. They have to blow someone up nice and fast. Otherwise, the Mafia will just completely roll them over. They see someone out of position, I feel like they have to pull the trigger. They can't just wait around and watch as La Mafia groups up for an objective. They have to try and do something before La Mafia can react. Right now, the CC not landing on the right targets, but here comes the tidal wave as well as the enchanted crystal arrow. The abyssal voyage does not knock up the Swain, but OPX feels compelled to still go in because they see the mid laner on the other side of the map. How much they can get done. It's a 1-for-1 so far. The stun is quite big from Jaina Proudmoore, but I feel like that's going to be the end of that. And OPX, can they get this mid lane turret at least? It was pretty good initiation, but now they go in! They go in for the dive, and this could be very, very costly for them. They get the turret. They should have just... Yep. They should have just settled for the turret, but now... It's 4 kills, it's an ace for La Mafia. They definitely wanted too much from that play. Now the Mafia is just going to take even more. Baron is now free for the taking, and with this buff, the Mafia can secure even more standing gold here on the map. Gotta keep in mind that mid lane inner turret, sorry, the outer turret is still alive, and the top lane outer turret as well. There are still thousands of gold just waiting to be gathered by La Mafia with this Baron buff. Yeah, lane assignments so far. Cassiopeia still in the side lane, isolated from her team. Urgot in the top lane. Not sure if this is the right approach. I feel like the Mafia could look to force the issue a little bit more than this. Now Don Kosu, oh my goodness. You can't just stay in the side lane like this. There's no way you win against the Syndra. Now La Mafia trying to secure a pick, but Jaina Proudmoore is going to TP just in time. That's a pretty good interruption of the potential push from OPX. Urgot is still in the top lane, but at least the mid lane push is prevented. Bot lane push is prevented as well. I'm pretty sure OPX could have lost way more off of that Baron buff. I feel like they should be pretty happy with what just happened here. Don Cunningham actually not going to expend the TP, he's just going for the inhibitor turret instead. And La Mafia potentially could try and delay the recalls maybe a little bit. Okay, they won't go for that. Maybe Urgot has enough time to take down this inhibitor. It's just the Syndra. Stun has landed, but one auto attack is all it takes. Don Cunningham, the damage is insane. The stopwatch lands, but oh, the Devour just in time. The top laner of La Mafia denied from that kill, and the shutdown lands as well. Now Imari in trouble. On the Nami, the stun is great from D-Hero. And 2 shutdowns. That's a lot of gold that just went into OPX's pockets. They get the inhibitor, but the game is not over yet. Jaina Proudmoore has anything to say about that one. The regular season MVP is definitely proving why deserve that title. Keeping OPX afloat in this game. While on the other side is Don Cunningham and Don Caruana being such a big force. Top jungle. I feel like especially top lane has been quite consistent for La Mafia this season, even if it's sometimes, you know, not the most flashy champions. Not the most mechanics heavy, but picks like Urgot, Malphite, Tahm Kench, they get the job done. And Don Cunningham is definitely the worker bee in La Mafia. Whatever job he needs to do, he performs it quite well. Down to the other members of the team to take on the carry roles, especially in the bot lane, for example. La Mafia lost the Baron buff, but they still feel pretty good about this push right here. Scatter the weak misses. There's potentially some extra damage on this turret. Ovi engaged on top of Don Simeone. The stopwatch is too late. It's going to be the first kill, and that's the initial pick that we were talking about. Banksy gets blown up so quickly. He does not even get the time to use his ultimate at all. That Black Cleaver, maybe he's regretting his choice right about now because he's not able to tank enough damage for his team in this second phase of the fight. It's La Mafia that still wins out. They will continue on this push. Mid lane is in a good spot for them. Ever focusing on the bot lane instead. But instead of trying to move forward with a push, they actually decide to go for the recalls, spend some of that money as well. And like I said, it's getting harder and harder for OPX to output enough damage. You can pick off the bot lane like that, that's a perfect scenario, but even then, the Kayn goes in after that, and yeah, the front line of La Mafia is very well equipped to deal with the Kayn. Not to mention the Cassiopeia and the Swain dealing damage based on percent health as well. It's not an easy task for the Kayn this game. Oh, this is potentially very important moment of this game. The Dragon coming up in 40 seconds, the Baron about to spawn. OPX have to make some difficult decisions. Baron is started up by La Mafia, but not quite in a position to fight right now. Just kind of an attempt to lure OPX into position. But now the Dragon's coming up, and La Mafia has to move towards that objective instead. Jaina Proudmoore trying to fish for some stuns, but they're not landing. Also, OPX has to... Yeah, they actually have to be aware of the potential backdoor threat that could come up if they commit too hard to this fight. But at the same time, they really don't want this Infernal Soul to go to the hands of La Mafia. That would probably also be the game-ending play. So Banksy trying to go for some kind of steal, and he gets it! He prolongs the game, he takes the steal of a Dragon. That is so crucial for OPX. They stay alive in the second game. La Mafia will take the Baron because the jungler is dead for another 30 seconds, but OPX have prevented the win condition from being activated by La Mafia. Now they can potentially maybe defend their base. It's going to be difficult still because of a gold lead, because of how strong the Wukong is, how strong the Urgot is, but it's not impossible. Okay, they see Don Cunningham way out of position. Not joined by his team. The Blast Cone is going to be used, maybe, to try and delay the escape. But now, La Mafia actually coming in. Nice counter engage. Oh, the Petrifying Gaze hits 4 of a Cyclone is massive. And OPX are losing members quickly. It's just Jaina Proudmoore trying to land damage on the outskirts of the fight, but... And now it's just 2 members defending the base, and there's no way they can do it. The Mafia are just going to escort this minion wave towards the Nexus turrets, and they're going to end it right here with the Baron buff. I don't think this can end any other way, though. Jaina Proudmoore! What a stun! Such big damage. La Mafia, all of a sudden, they don't feel so confident anymore. The stun does not land this time around. Syndra can flash away. And Jaina Proudmoore actually defends the base successfully. The game is not over. Second inhibitor. Okay, maybe OPX can defend that as well. Wow, Jaina Proudmoore. I keep saying it time and time again, but so clutch in this game. The Mafia has to run away all the way towards their base, but here comes the Ash Arrow. Not going to land. Yeah, a bit dicey there for the Mafia. Could have been the end of the game, but OPX stands strong just outside of their base. And for Jaina Proudmoore, I think this is as far as you go in terms of scaling. As the Rabadon's completed, the fully stacked Archangels, Void Staff, pretty much everything you could possibly need. Now it's about the other members of the team catching up. Some of them have a lot of catching up to do. I think I would like to see a Gargoyle Stoneplate, for example, from Tom Kench, just to buy as much time for the Syndra. Also, the Sterak's Gauge is going to be potentially delayed as well for the King. Oh, the stun is massive from Jaina Proudmoore. The Rel falls. The Wukong is way out of position here. Resurrecting with the Guardian Angel, but this is still looking very good for OPX. Another stun! Another stun lands onto the backline. OPX is fighting back in the second game. They're not giving up. La Mafia is not finding the engages they once had. They're not playing towards their win condition anymore, and OPX, on the other hand, is doing exactly what they were supposed to. They're utilizing their pick comp super well in this late stage of the game, despite having 2 inhibitors down.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
They're still fighting back. They're still making it as hard for La Mafia as humanly possible. The front line is so fed, but it really feels like Jaina Proudmoore on the Syndra is making it so difficult for La Mafia to even approach these objectives. The short range on the other side is really a bit of a problem. Obviously, they have the engage tools, they have the R buttons to blow people up. They have to get there first, and now OPX is late to the objective. Sorry, Mafia is late to the objective. It's OPX to get the Infernal Soul. What a turnaround from this team. Now the gold lead, I don't think it means very much anymore, but now La Mafia, they want to pull the trigger right here, right now. Support falls for OPX, and his D hero that's going to be next can't possibly evade the damage. The slow is pretty big onto Fanxi. He's going to stay alive. Only 3 people defending the base, but we've seen this one before. We've seen how much damage Jaina Proudmoore can do with just one QE combo. La Mafia have to be very careful on the approach towards this objective. Jaina Proudmoore, no flash just yet. Fantasy going in. Buying a lot of time. Don Gomez, what are you doing? You can't land in that position. You can't be there in that position. But now finally, La Mafia going for the dive. Can they kill the Syndra? No, they can't! She stays alive with a Devour! It's an OPX ace!
Blue team triple kill.
It's an OPX ace again! They defend the base again!
Blue team's inhibitor is respawning soon.
Despite La Mafia's best efforts, this game is not over because Jaina Proudmoore, with the assist of his team, is taking matters into his own hands. Screw the D1 jungler, look at this mid laner, oh my god, and now the Baron pit. The Baron is under attack. OPX are going to take this objective as well because La Mafia are not even there to do anything about it. They're still they're still looking at gray screens for the most part. And it's OPX almost tying up the gold lead. 40 minutes into this game, La Mafia have tried so many times and it always fails.
Blue team's inhibitor
Always hitting a brick wall. And the brick wall hits back quite hard. At this point, if you're La Mafia, you're feeling quite discouraged. It's like, what else can we really do? What kind of engage do we need to have in order to take this team down? They've tried so many times, and it never feels quite right for La Mafia. Another Ash Arrow plus the Tidal Wave. Backline is going to evade that. Oh, Jaina Proudmoore with the Flash QE trying to do something. Really proactive play, but completely dodged by La Mafia. And now Syndra without the Flash. This is very important information for La Mafia going into the next fight. They're still trying to push forward. But they need to try and find the Syndra first. Try and do something about that pick. Oh my god! Out of nowhere! Jaina Proudmoore out of vision. One shot to support again. And it's OPX on the offensive again. Baxi going in. So much healing. The backline is potentially exposed now. The Cane falls. Unleash power onto the Urgot. The Gargoyle Stoneplate actually tanks a lot of damage. And this might have been a mistake from Jaina Proudmoore. Using that ultimate onto the Urgot with Gargoyle's Stoneplate. I'm losing my voice a little bit. At this point, it's getting harder and harder to cast this game. It's so tense. The damage from Syndra is still coming in, but D-Hero is going to fall extremely fast. Don Cunningham. Even he's feeling the burn from the Syndra. They finally get the stun bell, but the Devour from February 14th comes in clutch once again. How is this game not over? The Syndra stays alive. So low on health. Look at the respawn timers though. It's 10 seconds for the support. It's 10 seconds now for the Cane. La Mafia cannot end this game. They will have to settle for the inhibitor. And the game continues. Still 1 minute and 30 seconds for this Elder Dragon. That will be the game decider. We've had the absolute maximum amount of dragons that you're able to spawn in one game. Four Infernal Dragons in a row for OPX plus the Dragon Soul. So that's so much additional damage for the Syndra. If you look at the amount of AP, 909 ability power on the Syndra plus the Infernal Soul AoE. Whoever the combo lands on, they are feeling the pain, most definitely. 40 seconds still until this dragon spawns, but La Mafia, they feel like it is important to secure the initial positioning. They can perhaps surprise Visindra this time, then maybe it finally is going to go their way. Zooming out, looking at La Mafia's positioning. We don't have the mid lane pushed in though. Banksy comes in, spots the front line. Don Gomez will retreat from that position. Both teams posturing aggressively, trying to look for something. Banksy, trapped inside of his pit, will not flash. The Mafia does not find it important. He's focused on one target right now. But maybe the fight starts right here, right now. Don Cunningham and Don Gomez trying to go into the backline, but they did not close the distance, and OPX are fighting back now. Don Simeone into the backline does not deal enough damage. Look at Banksy, look at how much time he bought. This is still an OPX win. La Mafia did not do enough with their frontline engage. And OPX, they do not have the pushed in wave, but they will secure this Elder Dragon. They cannot end the game with these minions. But they will take the Elder. And that could be right here, the game-deciding fight. The Nexus turrets actually fall in OPX's base, but it doesn't matter. As long as they can push mid and force a fight, this could still be game. And also, OPX moving to winners finals, but it's still so incredibly tense. So many moments where like the game should have ended, but it didn't. Now OPX finally have a shot. Finally feels like they will be able to move out of their base with the Elder Dragon. So much threat from this team. The 4-stack Elder plus Infernal Soul. I keep saying it over and over again, but Jaina Proudmoore is such a big threat in these fights. But okay, here we go. Baron buff. OPX is starting the Baron, but La Mafia are straight onto the base. What is going to happen here? They have to defend, they have to recall at some point, but they're still taking the fight. La Mafia's onto the Nexus. Can they stop the recalls in time? The recalls come in, into the base. La Mafia is onto the base. The Nexus is getting attacked. We're not focusing the Nexus though, but they're killing the targets. Banksy's still alive. CCing. Trying to CC as many targets as possible, but most importantly, Jaina Proudmoore is dead. Can Banksy buy enough time? Tom Kench TPing in. Banksy has finally scaled to late game. He cannot be killed anymore. And La Mafia have tried with the backdoor. La Mafia had the right idea, but they did not execute on it 100%. And OPX, they might look at a win here. Maybe, just maybe. Don Caruana's still looking for that Nexus here, but it does feel like February 14th knows what's going on. Can he take the Blast Cone? He was spotted. Or was he spotted? I don't think he was spotted. I don't think he was spotted by the Tom Kench. But wait. Don Caruana recalled. Okay, he saw the respawn. Yeah, he saw the respawn timers as well as the inhibitor respawning. There was no way for that to work. He has to defend instead because the base is under attack. Now finally the respawn timer is coming in. And now it feels like the game is no longer La Mafia's control. Are we going to get to the second Elder, I wonder? Feels like it shouldn't be possible, but it certainly feels like it could be the case. Yeah, just like I said, Gargoyle Stoneplate could be high value for the front line of OPX, and the purchase finally came in for both top and jungle. OPX now pushing in mid. No side lane nonsense. Oh, as I say that, they're actually rotating top. I was about to... I was about to do a whole monologue. How ARAM is the best way to play League of Legends, but it does look like OPX. No, they're not ARAM practitioners. They're utilizing the side lane as well. Maxi actually all alone in the top lane. But it's not like Mafia can kill him very easily, as it was demonstrated in the fight at the heart of OPX's Nexus. Maxi could not be killed anymore. It would probably take like 10 champions to kill him. Scales super well into his team, and I think the Mafia are starting to realize the threat they're put up against here. Now they're on the back foot. They're trying to look for some kind of miracle engage onto the backline, because that's exactly what they need to win this game. Thankfully for them, it's just the Nexus standing. So the fight does not have to be perfect. It has to go their way, but it does not have to be a clean ace or anything. They can still force the issue afterwards. It's all about getting that engage though. The stun lands onto Don Gomez. And OPX feels compelled to engage on this one. Maxi onto the backline. The bubble is very good from Imari on the backside of the fight. And it's OPX winning. They cannot get to the Ashe. They cannot get to the Syndra. This is OPX pulling the biggest comeback of the season. They do not have a minion wave. It is going to arrive shortly. And it feels like La Mafia are out of sorts. They're out of answers. And they will fall most likely to OPX. OPX actually not that sure as to what lane they should be pushing. It's getting a little bit weird out here. Don Caruana though going in. What are you going in for? The TP comes in from February 14th. Now, sorry, from Jaina Proudmoore. Now surely it's the push. They protect the cannon from dying. We're going to take down these turrets. They go down so quickly. It's just a Cassiopeia. She cannot stop 4 people. Try as she might, it's not going to happen. OPX 2-0 this series. The most ridiculous comeback of the season has been completed.